Nell here, feeling a little loopy. It is a little late night, so go ahead and bear with me through this one. Here with another 5-minute movie review. And if you're looking at the title, you're like, wow, Nell, you are behind like 5 movies. And you're right, I am. The reason why this one's skipping the bunch is because of how it did with the opening weekend box office, the controversy surrounding that. And I did want to go ahead and talk about it while it was hot after the video, but I will be catching up. In fact, I'm going to do 2 5-minute movie reviews for this week and probably next week as well, so we can go ahead and start to catch these movies up. Now, you do have to follow me everywhere so you can see what I'm watching real time. You can check the description below for Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, all that lovely jazz, so you can see what I am seeing. I appreciate those who've already done that. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe, like the video, hit the share button, notifications, and be prepared to go ahead and comment. Whew. That's like the 8th time I've said that. Y'all have no idea the struggles I've been going through today. So let's get into it. I do not give away any major plot lines, nothing major. But if you are like me and you don't even want to know if Harley Quinn wore socks in the movie, then you might want to go ahead, see the movie, and then come back to this. So we are talking about The Suicide Squad, directed and written by James Gunn. This movie is 2 hours, 12 minutes long, but it moves fast. In fact, you kind of want more. It feels under 2 hours for sure. This is a fun movie. It's a funny movie with a great soundtrack that I might actually had to look up a couple of songs on it. It feels like a 90s action movie, and I didn't realize it was rated R until I got in, and oh my goodness, there's even full frontal nudity, y'all, and I'm so happy that I didn't realize it. I like that I got that shock real time. They went and got some Imagineers of killing, y'all. There is a symphony of death in this movie with animation, with over-the-top CGI as well, which helps it feel more like a comic book movie. Like I said, this looks like a comic book movie. It has title cards throughout the entire movie telling you where they are, where they need to go, or the objective, the time and date. Has all these funky camera angles. It has, again, animation seeped in through the movie, spinning one takes and all that to help it feel, again, like a comic book movie. It seems like it's only one location, but the way they utilize it, whether it be outdoors, the street, the jungle, and all of that, they utilized it very well. This is a huge cast, as you saw from the trailer, with a bunch of unknown superheroes, especially to someone like me who's not familiar with a comic book property. So with this many characters, I knew that we were going to see a lot of them die, but they still got me on quite a few of the deaths, as far as how early or how late that they died, who it was depending on the character, or who the actor that it was that got to play the character. They caught me off guard on a few of them. There was also more character development in this movie than I thought that there would be. And not enough for all of the characters, but I cared about more than I thought that I would, especially the shark. Love that shark. John Cena, Idris Elba, they're like 2 teenage frenemies. They're going back and forth throughout the entire movie, and I thought they did a good balance of it being entertaining without it getting annoying. They're right there on that line. Harley Quinn probably has one of the most notable action sequences, especially when you look at the animation. It's very imaginative, very creative, very visually stimulating. This entire movie makes your eyes work. You're constantly looking around. There's a lot of visual stimulation throughout this entire movie. I like that Harley Quinn had a good fight scene with good action sequences, but I also like that she was not the focal point of this movie. This was very much an ensemble cast, and I'm very thankful for that. I was scared she might eat up the camera time. Nothing wrong with her or the actress playing her. I just wanted an ensemble cast, and we got that here. Viola Davis. Viola Davis is just as good, if not more powerful than she was in the first movie, except for she's actually in less scenes, and I wanted more. I like the dynamic between her and her staff. I wanted more of Headquarters. All those superheroes, all that death, all that CGI, and I wanted more of the Headquarters. There's actually a couple of squads. There's multiple squads that actually, some combined, they break off into other little groups, and then you got the squad in the Headquarters, and I think that that's done on purpose. They do make a little references to Suicide Squad, the first movie, but not really, so it's actually kind of hard to tell if this is a remake, if this is a sequel. It's kind of blurry, and I think it's done like that on purpose. The villain situation is that it's multi-layered, it's a little bit more complex, it's not straightforward, and I like that. The main climax of the scene, I wish they wouldn't have revealed the starfish in the trailer, although when they first revealed it, it was actually just a piece of it. But knowing how the comic book heads are, you should have known. They would have saw that piece and figured out the entire thing. So they shouldn't have put that in the trailer. I wish I didn't know that going in. But even still, like I said, because it's a multi-layer villain situation, it doesn't give away the entire thing. The way that villain situation climax goes down, all of our main characters we've been following throughout the whole movie are essential. They all have to work together. They all matter into overcoming this climax of the movie, and I thought that that was important. Also, the characters who have some of the like seemingly sillier powers, when you actually see their powers in full force, you're like, oh, you can do all that? That's what you do? So it made it worth it. It made sure that everyone was effective in coming together and making this happen. They felt like a real squad, like a real squad. There is a mid-credits scene and there is an end credit scene, so please stay throughout the whole thing. And I love this movie. I loved it. Not only did I like it more than Suicide Squad, I liked it just period standing alone. This is the first movie that I've seen all in a while that I plan on seeing again, which I do. I think I recommend it for you and the entire family. See in the theaters, that way your eyes can be stimulated the way mine were. And even though it's rated R, if you're a 90s baby like I am and you grew up on movies like Terminator, go ahead and take your kids. It's rated R. Take your kids. Shh. Only one little penis. That's it. Shh. All right, we have 5 minutes now. We have the 5 minutes, and I actually got that all up in there. Almost didn't warn you about that penis. Okay. Like I said, I'm feeling a little loopy. So real quick, let's go ahead and talk about my wants for the future for this franchise. If there is going to be a third movie, and it depends on how this movie does. That's why I want to talk about the box office here. They had already slated James Gunn to go ahead and write and direct the third one if we do get one, and I'm all for that. The way his vision came out in this movie, I was all down for. I have very little critique, maybe a little bit more character development. Some of the CGI was a little obvious, but other than that, I actually don't have many complaints. I love the movie. So that's my wants for the third. Kind of keep doing what you're doing. So let's go ahead and talk about the poor box office performance. I just wanted to know from y'all why you think that was. It opened up with about $26 million as opposed to, say, Black Widow opened up with 60 some odd million dollars the first weekend. Black Widow was opened up on streaming services and in the theaters at the same time. Same thing with this movie. This movie, however, had the second biggest streaming opening out of any movies opening on the streaming services. This is not something that they like to brag about. The movie theaters don't like, or the movie industry doesn't really like to brag about streaming numbers, because streaming is eating away at movie theaters. So there's this whole, they kind of painted themselves in, well, they found themselves in this little between a rock and a hard place, where because of COVID, streaming exploded. But obviously you can only get so many subscriptions. After you get so many subscriptions, that money's going to plateau because the movie's going to be released and everybody's already going to have the HBO pluses, the Disney pluses, and everything that they need to watch the movies. So you're still going to want to get that theater money. So they don't like to brag about the fact that this is actually doing extremely well on streaming. They're like, shh about that. And so all we're talking about is the poor box office performance as to what they thought it was going to do. So why do you think it did so poorly in the box office? COVID, obviously, that's part of it. People still are not back into theaters like they were. Streaming services, obviously, that's part of it. People are, they've gotten used to watching these type of movies at home. Streaming services were around before COVID, but you could never watch big blockbuster movies like this at home. It took a while, it took a couple of months. So that, of course, is taking away from it too. But one of the other things I thought was poor marketing. I swear Black Widow was shoved down our throats for like 4 years. I know that the James Gunn version of this movie wasn't ready for that long, but I still think that they could have done better with the marketing campaign. Also, they gave away too much in the previews. So we just needed more of it, not necessarily longer previews and more information. They did, I heard a point about not having Will Smith, saying that Will Smith is the type of star who was not only A-list, but he puts butts in seats. You could actually track his name being on a movie and people going to see that. You didn't really have any star like that. Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, yes, these are all A-listers, but they don't necessarily put butts in seats. There are levels to this, right? That's one. One of the other things that I think is the biggest mistake was not just going ahead and making it a sequel. They did this thing where they're like, we know you didn't like the first movie. We know you were disappointed. So this is not that. This is not that movie. Okay, so it's a remake. No, 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 no. David Akers and them, or Ayers and all of them, they're great. We respect that last property. There's nothing wrong with that property. So no, this is not a remake. We're not remaking it. So it's a sequel. No, because y'all didn't like that first movie. So this is not a sequel to that movie you didn't like. So they kind of made it to where you can't really get a grasp of what this movie is. And I think that they should have just straightforward promoted it as a sequel and then just been meta about it. Acknowledge the fact, the mistakes that were made with the previous movie, which I'm sure weren't all on the director. I'm sure there was studio decisions and all of that. And the fact that you didn't have the Joker in this one, despite all of the criticism that we got from the Jared Leto portrayal of the Joker itself, that character, that iconic character not being in the movie, probably is another reason why people didn't go out to see it. You had a lot of unknown superheroes, like I said, that people didn't know. That's another thing. So I think they should have just said this was a sequel and recognized what happened with the old one, throw a couple of jokes in it, throw a couple of callbacks in it, and then just move forward. There's nothing wrong with the sequel being bigger and better than the first. And that's what this is. This movie is better than the first. But I don't know. So you guys let me know what you think about this. Of course, let me know what you think about the movie. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, and why. Did you like it better than the first? Did you not like it better than the first, and why? Why did you think it did so poorly at the box office? Was it the way they marketed it? Was it the lack of butts in seats actors? Lack of certain superheroes? Just tell me what you think about this movie and why it did so poorly. There we go. So again, subscribe, like, y'all. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning. I am losing it. So talk to me. Take care. And I'm actually going to try to do another one after this. And goodbye.